Hi everybody, I'm Amber McMichael. I'm the founder of Letters from My Mama, where we're using generational wisdom to break generational curses. And as you see, I'm filming a docu-series. This is season 1. It's just everything we wish we knew as our 16-year-old selves. Because when you know better, you do better. So I'm joined here with my mom. This is Yvette Gray. She is one of my primary reasons for doing Letters from My Mama. We had a lot of breakthroughs this year as a family, and I think that it was imperative that I do my interview with my mom, just so we could sit and talk together as far as what we went through as teens and how we grew up and what we can apply now, giving back to she fed back into me and I feed back into Bella and the teenagers that I have in my family. So one of the biggest reasons why I started the organization Letters from My Mama is, if any of you follow my blog, you know at 17 years old I was raped. At that time, I didn't feel comfortable enough to come to my mom or anybody in my family for that reason, and it didn't have anything to do with them. It was more me being ashamed and me victim shaming myself, and I didn't realize this until I was 32 years old, and I actually sought therapy for myself. Is that the right word? Okay. For myself, and I was able to even form the word rape, because I had never even said that before, even in my head, and was able to say it out loud. So that's one of the reasons why I started the organization, so that people that have experienced trauma in their childhood and in their teen years can begin healing at that time versus taking it all the way into their 20s and into their relationships, and really seek counseling and take care of their mental health. That's what I want to use my platform for the most, is to get teenagers to seek therapy. That's good. So as you can see throughout the season, I've been interviewing people in different walks of life, some mothers, some people who lost their mother, some people who just had childhood trauma and experiences I thought you would benefit from hearing. We've heard from dads of daughters. We've heard from dads that aren't active in their children's lives and how, that affects us growing up as teenagers, especially as girls. And I thought that the last interview should be with me and my mom. So that's why she's here with me today. So we're gonna talk about the same things that you've been hearing about, but just together, because it's Letters from My Mama and Mama's right here. So that just made sense. So Ma, I know what you want. But I know 3 months ago, we were in the kitchen and you finally told me your virginity story. And just about you growing up as a teen. And I was like, I wish I knew this as a teen. Because it would make me feel more comfortable, you're human too. I think when we're teenagers, we don't look at our parents as they're human. Right. We look like y'all our judge and our jury, and they're going to think we crazy, and they're going to think that we're this bad person. Mm-hmm. But it makes us feel better when we know that you've been through the same experiences. Yeah, been through some things too. And I think it also makes you it encourages you to come and talk to you. Okay. So did you grow up not talking to your mom about situations?
And that's what I was going to say. I did talk to my mother about a lot of things, but not that, because we just didn't talk about sex or things like that when I was growing up. We only talked amongst ourselves as girlfriends. We even with menstruation and just things like that, we talked amongst ourselves. It wasn't something that I had a discussion with my mother about. So we weren't open back then. It wasn't something I talked. I don't think my girlfriends talked to their mothers about it either. We just talked together. We learned a lot from each other.
It's kind of dangerous, because you could be misinformed as children coming together.
Yeah, it is very dangerous. So no, I learned what I learned from reading, school, and others. So no, it wasn't that type of household. Plus, I grew up in a single parent household. My mother was also sickly. So she spent a lot of time working and sleeping. I did a lot of the motherly things, cleaning, cooking as a kid, so, there wasn't time for stuff like that.
So when it came to me, so you have a daughter, So my perception growing up is that if we didn't talk about it, it wasn't going to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I think you did a good job putting fear in me. Like, God said this, so don't. And so I'm like, I'm like scared now. So I think that kept me from doing a lot. But I don't think you talked to me as from a woman. You just talked to me from a mother.
Because I was so afraid of you getting pregnant. But I held it inside though. It was like my worst nightmare would be for my daughter to come home and tell me she was pregnant but this was stuff I held on the inside. So it wasn't like I pulled you to the side and talked to you. And then we had a different dynamic in our household. We had a blended family. And we had so many people from the outside, and it was just, I felt like I was always busy raising children. I had a kindergarten, and then I had, kids 10 years apart, and I had 2 boys in the middle, and something was going on with everybody. So, and then the other thing is, you're only 18 months older than Marcus, so it just didn't happen. And I didn't have the wherewithal, like, I think I was more afraid that if I talk to you, you might go have sex. I mean, it's skewed, but I thought, I'll sit down and talk to her about this. I mean, it's just
make it real.
Yeah, it would happen. And
Did you feel the same about your sons?
Talking to them about.
Period. Like the same way you felt about me is because they can't come home pregnant. So.
Oh yeah. I didn't tell them to go make sure they had a condom on because, first of all, being raised in a Pentecostal holiness church, that's contradictory. I'm not going to tell you to use birth control when you shouldn't be having sex in the first place. So that was all. It was a mishmash. I was not.
Do you wish you were more of a realist?
Never been a realist. Yeah.
I'm saying no.
I wish I were more of a realist. I'm not. But I think that's good and bad because it keeps me more positive than I am negative. And when I grew up, I felt negativity. I felt negative about the way I looked. I just felt, I dealt with self-esteem issues. I lost my dad when I was 4, so I didn't have anybody instilling in me my good qualities or talking about my good qualities or building me up. I didn't have that, so I didn't grow up with that. So no, I made everything happy and light, and I love my kids. Let's go, let's go, kids, let's go, So no, I wasn't a realist at all. I can't say that.
So okay, well,
sorry. Yes, I was just. I don't know.
So you spoke a little bit about self-esteem and how you felt growing up, and I know your story, but they don't know your story. So 14-year-old, 15-year-old Yvette looking in the mirror, what was that like?
Oh, well, first of all, let's go back a little bit before then. When I was 11, I developed early. So when I was 11, I think I may have looked like I was 16. And I didn't like that at all because it drew attention to me. I didn't dress like a normal kid. I would put on a shirt and I had another shirt. And then, I just try to draw attention away from this. But, that's what boys saw, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that male attention at all. I didn't. So, and then I didn't think I was beautiful or, I didn't think I was attractive at all, growing up. No, so I dealt, severely with esteem issues.
So when did you feel a shift? Because people always thought you were beautiful, always tell you that, but when you look, you just didn't see that.
No.
So when did you feel that a shift towards self-love and worth?
Well, I'm not going to go that far, self-love and worth. I thought I was beautiful. The first time I thought I was pretty was when I took my senior portrait in high school. And I think it was because of the editing they did. I don't know what it was about me. I mean, I had my eyeliner on, I had my lip gloss on, my hair was neat, and I took this picture and I remember being like, how they pose you like that. And then when I saw the picture, I was like, oh, okay, my mole, you know. And I saw the picture and I went, oh wow, I'm actually pretty. Oh, that's really nice. So that's the first time that I thought I was pretty, and I was about 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And then also, I had like a chipped tooth. It wasn't a chipped tooth, but my tooth didn't grow. My front tooth didn't grow right, and so I was teased for that. Plus, I was in the church. They called me church girl. They called me all kinds of stuff. But boys liked me, and it was for my body. I believe it was because of the way I looked. But I did not like that. I didn't like that attention. So I don't know. It was just a mishmash of, you know. But I do remember Mama telling me, like, when I would dress up for church or whatever, I put on a shoe. Girl, that shoe looks good on you. Those big legs look good. I do remember her saying things like that to me, like, you look good in that shoe, you look good in that dress, that looks good on you, you know. So I do remember my mother telling me, you know, saying things like that to me. But as far as beauty or anything, I never heard anybody say, oh, you're beautiful, or you know, not. I didn't hear that at all. So
I don't know. I don't think I don't remember hearing that when I was growing up. But I just felt awkward all the time. I felt fat. Since I was in elementary school, I was always the tallest person or the biggest person, all my friends, and I look back like, what the heck? You weren't even big. Right. Like I wasted, me and my friend were talking about that earlier, like I need all those years back. Absolutely. I wasted all these years having the image of what everybody else felt was beautiful in my head, when the whole time, like I always had boyfriends. I always had, but I just was like, I wish my hair was longer, or I remember ruining my eyebrows because you wouldn't let me get my eyebrows arched, and I wanted them because thin brows was in. I wish I never did that. I got a permanent hole in my eyebrow. Just little things like that we do. But I think as far as self-love, I can't honestly say I love myself until probably the last couple of years.
Me too. When I was in my 50s, I spent most of my adult life trying to lose weight. So, you know, I mean, when you guys were little, I taught a spa lady. I've always had a weight thing, you know, working out and then going back to this, you know, eating sugar and then stop and I get a certain size and I'm like, oh, I got to stop right there. So it's always been a weight thing to me. However, when I look back at pictures, I'm like, really, I wasn't that big. Really. And I do look at pictures of myself and I think now, I wasted a lot of my life thinking that I wasn't good enough, I didn't look good enough, or it's always something. And then when I went to lose weight, it would be drastic. I would like not eat for 10 days and just unhealthy things, you know, that I did just to lose weight, and, you know, because I just felt like smaller was better, you know, smaller was beautiful, you know, and it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate.
Like, why was this whole body movement in back then? Now everybody paying for what we already had.
Right, already had.
But another thing, of course, I was teased for my gap. I didn't like wearing my legs out, ever, period. Like, shorts, yeah, right. I just felt like it was like a waste. But when I say, like, I can't really say I love myself until more recently because of what the relationships that I chose and allowed myself to be, how I allowed myself to be treated. In those relationships that, it wasn't love. I wasn't loving myself by letting somebody treat me that way.
Right.
So I feel like that is when I can really count and say, okay, like I'm starting to like know my worth and demand respect.
I'm grateful for that too, because I, on the other hand, I'm 55 years old. And I am the happiest that I've been in, 25 years. And that's sad. So for me to see millennials, you know, how you all are woke and enlightened and, you know, claiming your beauty, your blackness, your worth, that is awesome to me. So, you know, I'm just excited about that you are learning to love yourself in your 30s, you know, and that you don't wait, because I did put everybody ahead of myself. Everybody's happiness ahead of myself. you know, and I probably would still be in there if it weren't for my children. You know, really, I probably would be. So I was dying, really. I was wasting away, you know, my talents, my inner beauty, just me. I was just wasting away, and you know, I think my kids, you know, when it was just you and Mark, y'all saved me in my 20s because I had severe depression, you know, back then. If it weren't for y'all, you know, I don't know where I would be. And then again, now, you know, a few years ago when I took that stand to deliver myself from the very toxic relationship that I've been in for 20 some odd years, very toxic, just hell, you know, just hell. And there's my kids again come to the rescue. So, you know, God is right. God gives us gifts.
My kids definitely.
Absolutely. Because they're gifts, you know, so.
For sure.
Yeah.
So can you agree that one of our biggest issues that we have in common is ignoring red flags?
Ignoring red flags. Well, yes, I guess ignoring red flags. Yeah.
I think we both. You have the tendency to show people grace. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, grace, mercy.
Except you.
Forgive. I can forgive. I forget too.
I'm not good with holding grudges.
Yeah, I can't. I think grudges are ridiculous. But it hasn't always benefited me as being that type of person because, and I walk in the spirit of mercy. That's what God gave me. But then, you know, again, that's catch 22, good and bad. It's not good for myself sometimes because I do forgive and I forget and I allow the same thing to happen over again. So it's good to have a spirit of mercy, you know, forgive but don't let that person do that to you again.
Right.
And so that's where, you know, that's where my development has come from. Now I have that now. Mm-hmm. So I forgive you. I saw what you did. I forgive you, but you won't ever do that again. So that's why I feel like I'm in such a good place in my life now. So I'm developing at this age, you know.
And I think the girls need to know that if you forgive, that doesn't mean you have to continue a relationship. And that's a friendship, that's anything.
Any kind of relationship.
You know, that doesn't mean that you have to. You can forgive somebody and not remain their friend, or you can still exit from the toxic energy.
Exactly.
And you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't take care of anybody, including yourself, if you're empty.
Exactly. So yeah, that's definitely something that I've learned is to take care of me. One thing my mother said to me is, you know, if you don't take care of yourself, you won't get taken care of because nobody else will take care of you. And I've always, you know, remembered that, you know, take care of you. So I knew it, but now I really value it. Mm-hmm. So I even say to you guys, it's time to go. It's time to go. I know when I've had enough, and I just pray that everybody around me will understand that. I know what's best for me, and it doesn't make everybody around me happy. And so what I'm learning to do is to not wait until it's too late, and I'm just a total, you know, mess, but to express, hey, I need this at this time, so I'm going to do this for me, because I have to put me first, or I won't be able to be a blessing to anybody else. You know, I have to take care of myself. So, yeah.
So a lot of things I know already, but I'm just going to just talk about it anyway because our viewers do not know. But one of the questions that I've asked a lot of, what am I going to call these people? My interviewees. I don't know. Is would they want their daughter, if they have a daughter, or their future daughter's virginity story to mimic theirs, or what would they hope that changed in hers? And of course, mine is, I was raped for my virginity. But one thing that I can say though is that as far as sex in a teenager, I felt like from the age of maybe 12 years old, I was fighting off a boy from like having sex. That is so annoying. That's so draining. And especially as a Christian teenager, trying not to conform and trying really, really hard to like not be like everybody else. Because all my friends were having sex. Everybody was. And I'm just like, it's gonna be Bluffin' McMuffin. I remember one time, I won't say the person's name because they probably will watch this, but I'm serious because we're friends on social media. He asked me to come to his house, and I was like, all right, this time I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go over. I'll call Takira on the phone. Takira, call him and tell him it's raining and I don't have no umbrella. Like, I would make up anything. Like, she's like, what? I'm not saying that. I said, just say it. I'm not coming. I can't. Our houses were so close to each other. This is really ridiculous. But I had to make up anything I could. Like, because I can't. I'm not going over there. I'm not, because something's going to happen. Like, I'm not. And she called, and I remember the next day going on the bus, like, Bluffin' McMuffin. Everybody calling. I remember I told this story on my blog, I believe. We used to go to this apartment complex right near my house in Lane Hill. So I'm in there. This boy had been pressuring me for weeks. Come in the laundry room. I'm not going in the laundry room. Pull me in the laundry room. So we're now in the laundry room. And I remember Carla, walked in there, saved my life. I walked right out.
I love her.
Yeah, she's like, what's my cue. I walked up so fast. It's like you always put in situations where you always, it's like so many like I don't want to, but so to fight that hard from like 12 to 17, almost make it out of Milford, which was my goal. I was trying really hard. Well, me and one other friend, we were trying really hard. And so I think that's what devastated me more. Like, to have that happen, because it's like, first of all, not to be like, I'm just gonna be real. Really, I could have went over the house. Well, at least I knew him. At least I loved him. Right. At least, like, what the heck? What is happening? I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. And then, of course, I just felt dirty. I felt like, who does that? Like, I'm just gonna be perfectly honest with my viewers. Like, what time did I get in the shower? Like, I'm just thinking about all this stuff is in my head. Like, this is so, like, disgusting. Like, I don't know. The whole thing is just embarrassing. And then, like, it's just disgusting. So for any boy that feels, like, entitled, or a woman, too. I mean, I'm not saying that women don't sexually abuse. That feel entitled is, like, you're not, like, I don't know what to say. Like, to feel that entitlement, like, you said no, but I'm going to do it anyway. Right. Like, that is, like... That's like the lowest as you can get. Yeah,
I don't know where some boys get that from, where they feel like they could just take whatever they want. I don't know where that comes from. I think with testosterone, I'm not a man, but a part of that is that it gives you this drive. It makes you more driven, and they don't know how to handle it. It's just, they don't know what to do with this testosterone, because I've heard many men say that's all they think about 24 hours a day is sex. So I think that you have to, and then they have to learn how to master that feeling and get control of themselves. But I think teenagers just don't know what to do with it. So they feel like, that's what I want, that's what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Well, he was a teen.
Right, well, he wasn't.
That wasn't his first time.
Right, so, probably wasn't his first time doing that. Yeah.
No. Yeah, and I too fought that in middle school, but what did we do? And my best friend and I, we get off the school bus because boys have been asking us, come over, and we think they're cute, we think all of this, they're really cute. Okay, we get off the school bus and we go to this boy, his name was David, he was really cute. So we go to his house, me and Andrea, and I don't know, first things, as soon as we get in the house, there were girls, and like his older sister was in there, so we're cool, we think. No, next thing I know, they're pressuring us to go in the closet, and I'm thinking, dude, I just got finished watching the Flintstones. Really? I'm not trying to come in your closet. What is happening? So you start that wrestling, and then I didn't even like the transition from being a kid to now. What are these boys doing now? All of a sudden, they're not playing hide and go seek with us. Yeah, we still want to play.
It turned to hide and go freak. That was a turn.
I mean, really, it just changes, and Yeah, I don't know. That testosterone is something else. And then, all through my teen years, when I was 13, I was going with a boy that was 18. And I just thought he was so fine. He was so fine. Of course, I looked 18, and he too, come on, let's go to my house, we're going to listen to music. And it ended up being a wrestling match. I had to run out of the house. Like, really? This is absurd. Okay, I've just had it now. I've had it with boys, So it is a frustrating time to go through that, as a teenager. So this is really good that you're doing that because, girls can get a chance to listen to what we have gone through. Yeah. Nothing's changed.
Right. But I think what I want my takeaway to be from this portion is just not to be blinded. It's easy for you to be in the mirror and not liking what you see. You're already struggling with your worth and like, am I beautiful? And then to have that one boy give you that attention, and then you think, oh, he must love me, or I'm in love or something, and then you end up being in that situation. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be. Like, somebody said it earlier today, if you want to lose your virginity or want to do it, make sure it's something that you want. Like inside, like this is something I decided, not I'm doing this because he wants to, or I think he'll love me more, or he'll choose me out of all these other girls because he's probably going to choose you, get what he wants, and then just go to the next person.
And that's where a father comes into place, because I believe that if girls had a father, someone who was a real father and how to build up their self-esteem, not just
and show them true love,
just by being their father, then that makes such a big difference in girls.
When you have a man that loves you, that doesn't want anything from you, that's what it is.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, right?
And right?
Yeah.
This is what love is.
This is what real love is, and so when we do meet these boys that we think, oh, I just want to give him my virginity, your sexuality, your virginity is worth so much. It's gold. It's like gold. It's it's just something that God gave us, and it doesn't belong to everybody. And then once you give yourself, you give your soul, and you're taking something too. What they give you, you're taking stuff. And when you go to all these different relationships, you are filled with a part of each person. And that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. So think twice about that, though.
Like my dad said earlier in the season, that you have to think about sex as this forms a life. That's how serious it is. Like, this is what God put here for us to birth and give life to another human being. That's how serious it is.
Right.
So it's not something that should be played with. Because it's to take that one time and you're a mother or your father.
Yep.
And then what? You're not going to prom. You might. But you
have to get somebody to babysit the baby.
Yeah.
Going to prom.
Yeah.
That's a whole huge responsibility.
And if you have money left after working your job, after you bought your diapers and all that stuff, if you have money left for a prom gown and getting your hair, getting your weave and your nails and I don't know. I think you should enjoy being a child. Just like Kia said, she felt like her childhood was instantly taken away because you have responsibilities and now you're a mom. And it's real. So I know we could talk about this topic probably the whole time, but I do want to touch on a couple of other things. But we could talk about, you lost your dad at 4 years old. You and my father were divorced when I was like 3.
Yeah. I lost my dad when I was 4. And then the next father figure didn't really stay in my life, but for, I don't know, maybe 3 years. And then he was gone too. So I really wasn't raised with a man.
So do you feel like that took a part in how you pick men? Like, do you think you had daddy issues? Like you were searching for love or searching for that in the people that you chose, or how do you think not having your dad growing up affected your relationships? Or the men you chose?
I just believe my life would have been so much better because I would have had a man to talk to me, to tell me what men are like, to tell me what boys are really like. I had no idea. It's just something that I learned on, on my own trial and error. And then me, when my dad died, that did a lot to me. That was very, very traumatic for me. I didn't know at that age at 4, but I saw him die. So, and I knew I knew he was dying. I knew what dying was. I knew what death was. I knew I would never see him again. And we were very, very close because he worked in the evening. So he was with me all day. This was before I was in preschool. So I remember him vividly more than my mother. And then when I lost him, I became very shy. Then I didn't want to be shy. Then I didn't want to be with anyone. I thought everybody was going to leave me. I clung to my mother. I mean, I didn't want to be anywhere without her. I had a hard time transitioning to school, nursery school. I still remember the first day in nursery school when my sister took me and she left me, and I went through this whole breakdown, and I believe that started my anxiety, back then. And I tried to make everybody happy because I figured if I make you happy, you'll stay with me. So my, as far, I had no sense of character. I didn't know how to judge anybody. So I just pretty much followed the crowd. All my friends were Christians, and they were saved, and they were married, and I just wanted to be what they were. So they introduced me to somebody who was saved and a Christian, and I was of age, and so I got married, and because in the Bible it says it's better to marry than to burn, and they really pressure you, the way I had grown up. And when I we started having feelings for each other, we wanted to have sex, but we knew it's a sin, it's fornication, so we better get married. And that's why we got married.
That's sad. We talked about that today too, as far as see how feeling that pressure to get married, and you were 18 years old.
Yeah, I was 19 when I got married. Yeah, I was 18. Yeah.
And I just wish that a lot of being a teenager is that fear of the life, like religion. I mean, we know that things are a sin. We read that. But I also know that my relationship with God is more important, than with religion, like what I learned at church. And I also know that, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. I also know that, it's not good to walk in God will forgive us, but it's something that should be told, that God gives grace and mercy. Yeah, because it pushes you into doing crazy stuff like that.
It pushes you into doing, it was peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It was peer pressure. My friend, like I said, again, my friends were saved. The friends that I hung around, they were saved, married, and that's what you do. That's what you do. So instead of me going, to college, I did go to college, but I didn't. That's another side issue that we could talk about, another time. But I wanted to be a nurse. Then I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to do some things. I wanted to do other things in my life. But once you get married, and then, we didn't have a baby, and we didn't have you until I was 21. It was 2 years between. But I'm a wife now. I have responsibilities. I got to get out there and work, and we moved into our apartment, and we did this, we did that. I was grown. I was married, but I didn't have that time to even know who I was or what I wanted.
Right.
All
fresh
because
out of high school.
Yeah, I was fresh out of high school. All my classmates and everything, they're going off to college. Andrea and Joanne both went to the medical profession, and they went on, and I'm in the church. And did they counsel me? A little bit. I got a little bit of counseling, but nobody sat and said, Yvette, you are 18 years old. Do you think you should be getting married right now? No one said that except my brother, who tried to tell me, but I I don't want to sin against God. I'm getting married, and I didn't listen to him at all,
Right.
So no, I definitely suffered because I wasn't taught correctly, the way I should. I had you, which you and Marcus, so that was a beautiful thing that came out of it. But
I feel like that's what relationships before. Like, is that what it? Because we had purpose to be here. So let's talk about heartbreak. Your biggest heartbreak. What did you learn from it? Was there anything you could have done to prevent it? Meaning, did you ignore red flags? We're not going to blame ourselves, but were we being disrespected and we just let ourselves be treated a certain way? Like, was it our expectations? Like, what have we done differently not to go through that heartbreak, and what did we learn from the heartbreak?
Well, if I talk about my most recent heartbreak.
Greatest heartbreak.
Oh, the greatest heartbreak. Okay, well, let's go back to the greatest heartbreak. No, I didn't know. I had no idea I didn't see any red flag, not one. Not until toward the end and I didn't see it. Somebody told me about it. No, I was totally duped. Yeah, I was totally duped, and that hurt me. And that was when I was 27 years old, and I still feel if I sit and think about it, I will still be upset about it. I feel like I want to cry now because it was just one of those kinds of deals, you know.
What did you learn from that situation?
I learned that I could recover from heartbreak because I did. I certainly did. I learned that I'm able to forgive. I'm able to overcome. I learned how strong I am. I learned that I need to do a self-study with, or actually not a self-study, but I need to study people more. My arms are already open before you walking up the street, and you're around the corner, my arms are already open before I even see you. Mm-hmm. So I just welcome everybody. Mm-hmm. So it's taught, I learned to not, be so fast to grab people into my circle. Mm-hmm. Whatever that is, I've learned that.
Right. And I think, am I the opposite of that?
I think so. To a degree, maybe not a whole 360-degree opposite. Mm-hmm. I think,
But people come into my circle, I'm just like, I'm leery of everything.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I think I've been betrayed by a lot of people close to me. So I think my thing is like, if these people can hurt me, and they're my family or people that are supposed to be my friends, people I've known for this amount of years, then why should I just trust this new person? Mm-hmm. Which is not fair for that person, because I think I should walk into every situation like this person wouldn't do this to me, or just be trusting off the bat. But I think I'm working through that in therapy. I think I've worked through that. So I can, like I told you, now, well, of course I'm going through this divorce probably when you see this. So that's crazy. But I did tell you that I would never date again. I'm going to be old and my kids gonna be gone. I'm gonna be by myself. And I sang Omarion's song, I got an icebox where my heart used to be.
Oh wow, that's
cold.
Horrible.
I'm so cold. I'm so cold.
Wow, that's a terrible song.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. I don't like anyone. Like, if somebody was like, who do you think is... Nobody. I don't think nobody's cute. I couldn't even tell you a celebrity crush, because I ain't like them. Like, nobody. Like, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
I'm not interested. And you would tell me, you have to be healed. And you used to tell me, like, God will soften your heart. God. And I'm like, But that's how I knew I was healed. That I could even entertain the thought and even still love, despite my heart being broken over and over. Like, I can actually describe it as having a wound that just kept getting open over and over and wouldn't heal. At this point, it's infected, and it's like, it's no coming back. That's how I felt like my heart was. And so I think it feels good that I can even entertain, like, the idea of love, or like, so I think I said that as far as my greatest heartbreak, I just described how I felt, but you will come out. You will come out on the other side. I used to cry in the shower, just really loud in the shower because I don't want the kids to see me cry, or even had suicidal thoughts. Like, I wouldn't harm myself, but if I die, God, you know, because it would be better than this. Yeah.
Thoughts.
And it does. That's hard. So a big heartbreak can make you feel that way. It can make you question what is wrong with you. And I don't want anybody watching this to ever feel that way. 9 times out of 10, when somebody betrays you, it has everything to do with them.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
It just put somebody else in that position. They were going to do the same thing regardless, because it's just in them to be the way that they were and the way that they are and choose the life that they chose. It has nothing to do with you. And you should never dim your light for a second, think that you aren't worthy, think that you aren't good enough. I mean, sure, it's things that we can all do because nobody's perfect to be better in scenarios. But you will come out. You will laugh again. Just like Sex and the City. Remember when Big left Curry at the altar and she's like, well, I laugh again. And when Charlotte like pooped on herself, she's like, what? I laughed. Y'all told me I would laugh. You don't see it right then and there. Like, I'm never going to laugh. I'm never going to smile, but you will. Like, it will happen. You will love again. You will trust again. But I think that's why therapy is so important, because we can pray. We can ask God to heal us, but he also wants us to have work without faith. And somebody else said this earlier, it's like we go to the OBGYN or the GYN, we go to the dentist for our teeth. Why would you not work on your mind, like work on your healing, get your mind checked? Because even losing your dad at 4 years old, how are you supposed to know how to process that? How are you supposed to know that? Like you need somebody to be able to, a professional person. Like, I can talk to you all day, but you can't tell me why I think the way I think, or why I react to the things that I do, or why I react in anger over little trivial things. Or like, I went through my 20s just being angry. Angry, period. I'm just angry at everybody. Like, and probably the end of my teens after that happened. And it's like, I didn't know why. I know I didn't. I didn't really know. So I just wish that more people would seek mental health and seek therapy and work on their mental health earlier, because you can have peace earlier. You can experience joy earlier. Your 20s don't have to hurt. You don't have to spend your whole 20s just like being in pain and then choosing bad relationships because of that, or just not living because of that, staying in the house or having anxiety or having worry or whatever it is. It's like your life can be better. People say you find yourself in your 30s and 40s. Why can't you in your 20s?
Yeah, and it's sad when you look at it, because so much of your life is wasted and you could be so much farther. But the Bible says there's wisdom in a multitude of counseling. So it's not meant for us to have everything pent up, which was another thing I was taught in the church, as far as talking about your life and situation, especially not your husband. Don't carry your husband down. Don't say disrespectful things. So I never shared with anybody, not even my mother, about some of the things that I was experiencing in my marriage. And that's like an ulcer, like having an ulcer in your body. You're bleeding from the inside out, and that is very dangerous. So I love that, you're doing this, and I pray that girls receive, what we're saying, and that it will heal a lot of people. It will cause a lot of heartache. It will, help a lot of heartache, and it will cause girls to be free, to be set free, even as a teenager, If I had therapy back then, I know I wouldn't have made a lot of the mistakes that I did, choices that I did. Even getting back to losing your virginity, I lost my virginity because I was trying to make somebody happy, which stemmed from all the way back, seeing my father pass away and thinking that I could get people to stay with me if I just made them happy, and I just clung to them, and I just,
Abandonment.
Yeah. So I'm dealing with my abandonment issues. I'm learning about this in my 40s and 50s. I thank God for it anyway, though. I do.
Right. Everything we experience is like for our testimony.
Yeah.
Like Pastor James said, we can't tell anybody about faith if we never had. That's
had
all we had.
Right.
Or we can't tell people God is a healer if we haven't been healed or experienced healing.
Absolutely.
So I know everything I went through, even this past year, got me here in this moment.
Yes.
However, like, I think it's for the reason that everybody doesn't have to struggle. Like, I don't feel like I don't feel like we should continue. This is me breaking the curse. Like, I was talking to my cousin, and she's like, my grandmother is bitter. My mother is bitter. Like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to keep passing this every generation. We just have this hurt because we just been hurt by men, or we just been done wrong, and everybody just all bitter. She's like, I don't want to be like that, and you don't have to be. Like, we can leave things like where they are. We don't have to carry that down with our children or the stories from our family. That like we can, like, somebody has to stop it, and absolutely. That could be you. Like, you don't have to. I mean, a lot of people say, well, I was raised this way, but you can choose a different life.
Yes.
You can choose a different life, but you might not know how. And I think that you should know that your voice is important, what you have to say is important. And even if the person that you're talking to now might not want to listen or might make you feel stupid, it's somebody else. So you can talk to your counselor at school. It's hotlines. It's just a trusted adult, and they can point you in a direction. I will have multiple resources available for anybody that wants to, just have somebody to talk to, as far as anything that you can think of. But before we wrap up, I do want to talk about finances, and things that we wish that we learned in school, and things that the ultimate thing that we wish we knew when we were 16, finances, and things that we wish that we learned in school, and things that the ultimate thing that we wish we knew when we were 16 that we now know. So I have to go back to the 60s and 70s. We just were not talking about that. It was all about surviving, I didn't grow up I wasn't even middle class. Right. So, no. Everybody was check to check. Everybody was paycheck to paycheck. Even though my mother, I have to say this, we never had our lights off. She never had any issues with her cars, never had any issues with the house. And she worked at Westinghouse in a factory and raised, me, took care of me by herself. My father died when I was 4. So, and my oldest sibling was fighting the Vietnam War. And then my sisters were 18 and 17. And then my brother was 14. She was left with all those children. And we all survived. We all survived, and she got through what she needed to get through. And she retired and ended up being able to spend time with you and Marcus and Sean. And and then she ended up buying a new house. So I had a great example. Not so much as seeing how she did things. I never saw her pay a bill. I never saw her go to the bank. I never saw any of that. However, I saw her work. She wasn't calling out. And that's where I get my work ethic from. Is my mother, because I saw her get up, 5 o'clock in the morning every morning, leave out and go to work, come home. I saw that, and she got what she wanted. She had nice clothes in the closet. She, like I said, she always had a car, jewelry, whatever she wanted to buy. Look, I didn't see any struggle. But again, it wasn't like she sat me down and said, this is how you balance the checkbook. Every week I write out this, or I budget for this or that. There was never that type of conversation, which is a shame, because then I didn't pass that down to my kids either. So you all got what you saw from school or whatever you learned in school, which was probably not much. Right. So yeah, if I could go back, I definitely would have sat you all down. Yeah, I would have even liked the negative conversations about money. Because I think I told you that before. You told me, no, I'm like, you have money. Like,
Right.
like I think I told you that before. Like, you have money. Like, why are you saying no?
Oh,
I'm not like, oh, she got 6 kids. Oh, she got this. I'm like, you have money. You're a mother.
yeah. Because that's the same thing I told my mother. She would say that I don't have the money. I said, yes, you do.
Heck, you go to. I see you go to work.
Like,
I
what are
see
you talking about?
have money. Like, what do you mean?
No,
so I think that was the biggest thing. That's how I went with Jaden and Bella. Like, Bella don't really get it, but Jaden, no, that's not in the budget because I have to pay for this. I have to do this. This costs this much. This costs this much. And I think that he has that in him. So when he comes to me, he's like, Ma, this week, can you redo my PlayStation, or how is that? Like he knows now. Like, don't just walk up on me like expecting, like, you know.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great to share with him. Let him see things get turned off. Let him see. Let them see that.
I don't think he ever saw that though.
I'm just saying.
Oh,
you know, let him know. You know,
right?
Know.
That is real. Like, money don't grow on trees.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that kids need to know all of it, like what it takes. And
no, we're so busy protecting our children. You know, we just think we're gonna protect these kids. I remember
it makes them like really green and naive.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, boy, they don't need to know that. You know, they don't need to hear that. We don't need, you know, to tell them that. And when I went to seek therapy because I was depressed, you know, the therapist told me, you need to share this with your children. Do your children know that you suffer from depression? I said, no. Oh, you need to share this with your children. Why? And you all weren't children, you know. This was, you know, you all were adults. She said, but your children are your biggest team cheerleaders. Like, yeah, they don't understand. My son is 19 years old. I think I can tell him, you know, but you just don't. I don't know, from my generation, you just don't sit and tell your children, well, I'm this and I'm that and you know, I fight with this and I fight with that. Not until now, you know, basically. Right. And the only reason I told you about what I shared with you, that information I shared with you about my teen years, was because of therapy.
Right.
You know?
And that's the only reason why I told you what happened to me as a teen.
Because you have therapy and you realize, I need to tell these things to my children. That, mommy has some issues. Mommy went through this. Because now I question my mother, like,
was she depressed?
When I look back and I go, she was depressed. That's what it was.
And it makes you feel like you're not crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, you're not alone. I think that's a big thing. A lot of people don't talk because they feel like, nobody is this weird. Nobody sits in the shower and cries and thinks like, if I die, then nobody's going to understand this. And I think when people are alone, that's how suicide happens.
Absolutely.
They feel like they didn't have anybody they can come to and talk to you about it because nobody will understand.
Nobody's going through that.
Whole time, you in a class with 26 people and like 13 of them are feeling the same way, but you don't know because everybody's so quiet.
Right. Nobody's talking.
Yeah.
It's good to talk. It's good to talk. It really is. It's good. It's helping people. It's, you know, it's a blessing. Yeah. You know, that you're even doing this. So I'm proud of you. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Nice. Really good.
I say you and Alexia. No, seriously. And Bella. I think I'm my phone this time.
No, it's
and Bella. The fact that I just told somebody today, towards the end of my marriage, I think that is what was like my final straw. The fact that I was raising a daughter. I'm like, well, my son is knowing stuff, and I don't want my son to think that this is what a wife is, or that he can do whatever he wants. And this lady's gonna be there cooking. She's gonna be there smiling. She's gonna be there taking care of my kids. No, it don't work like that. And my daughter, I want her to know what true love looks like, feels like, and I just have to be an example. And so I don't know, I just feel happy that I'm in a state where I'm healed to the point where I can even reach back. Like, I'm not still broken. I'm not, I talk through this whole thing without crying. I never even thought I could talk about this stuff without crying.
Healing. That's
so,
healing. Yeah.
So I just feel like grateful that I can experience joy and I can experience peace. And so much more is coming. We have a lot of things in the works, like panel discussions and like sleepovers, all kinds of stuff where I want girls to get together and just to build a tribe too, because I think it's important to have people like-minded in the same space as you that can like feed you, affirm you. A lot of people, like when I went to see Sarah Jakes, when we had to read the affirmation, she said the lady next to you might have never experienced affirmation or ever been affirmed in her life. And I think that's a big thing. Like, and just making, how I make the affirmation mirrors so you can look in the mirror and just speak these thoughts to you, speak life over yourself. It's just a lot that we have to cover.
Yeah.
So we will definitely be back. And I just want to thank my mom for joining me and being so candid and open, because I don't know if we do that around here. So
we do now.
We do
now.
now.
Normal.
I knew normal.
Right.
New normal. And for everybody that came out to speak this season, like, you guys don't know how much you mean to me. Just hearing, like a lot of my thoughts. I always have ideas, and it's like I want to just bottle everything up and sell it.
Yeah.
Like, because I have all these ideas, but I'm just so grateful that you guys saw my vision and jumped on board and thought it was wonderful as well. So I'm just hoping that I just can reach a lot of people. And even if I reach one, I'll feel great.
Okay.
I'll feel so good.
It's worth it. It's really worth it and needed.
So part 2 of our conversation will be in season 2. But I just thank you guys so much for watching. Just tell everybody anybody that you think can benefit this. It's not just limited to teens, young adults. It's some people that are in different stages of life.
Yeah.
It's like we're coming for the girls that we feel like just don't know or haven't been taught. But so even if I reach just one girl, I will feel ecstatic, like that. Me being all healed and whole has reached somebody where they are. And I think that's the biggest thing about using my platform, is I just want to reach people where they are, like YouTube,
reach and rescue,
and right, like on your level, on that, where you can understand and you can receive it, because to be honest, people have their mom in their life. Their mom, we hate our moms as teens. Period. Me and Jenny were talking about that today. She had the audacity to tell me to clean my room. I hate her in my diary. Like,
I know I was hated.
Everybody is outside after 8, and I have to work for my own cell phone. It's like stuff like that. Ended up, I guess, being for our good. But we don't see that. We don't see that though. So I just think that sometimes when we hear somebody else say something, it's like confirmation. Sometimes as teenagers, you just need that, because you're not feeling your mom has your best interest, because you think like she's just trying to make my life miserable, and we're here to back her up. Because I know now that my mom was just, but you don't see that then. So just listen. You got all these mamas now here trying to help you. Just be better. That's all. We just want the best for you. And you'll hear more of me and my mom's story in season 2. We'll come back with a part 2. We'll have panel discussions. We'll have meetups. So I feel like every girl needs a tribe. Every girl needs a squad, like of real friends, true friends, people that are like-minded like you. Maybe somebody that doesn't feel like they want to go right off to college. They want to take a gap, or what is it called? Gap year, break year, or something year. Okay, yeah. And like find themselves. And you don't know nobody that's doing that, so you might feel scared to speak up and say that. But I just want to provide a space where we can find people that are just like us, the same journey. Yeah. Maybe you'll find somebody that has been sexually assaulted, and you guys can bond and maybe start going to therapy. Maybe you can go together. Maybe, I just want everybody to feel like they have somebody that they can talk to always. Nobody should suffer in silence about anything. Nobody should be alone in any walk of life. And maybe this will even empower you to just start and have that conversation with your parents. And, and then you can find out that they're human too. Maybe this will give parents out here watching the strength and the courage to go to their children, so that, they can feel like, have a better relationship. Now, right? Teens.
Maybe you can even maybe you can use this as a tool to ask your parents some questions about their childhood. I think most of us like to talk about our past experiences, but we don't know how to bring it up. So, you know, and then as soon as you show some interest in anything that concerns us, we're ready to talk. So,
Right.
you know,
Maybe you just don't know where to begin. So we just want to bridge the gap between the generations. So let this be a conversation starter. And we're here to answer any questions. Anybody that you saw talk this whole season, we're here. I can give you resources if you need. And so when you know better, you do better. And that's what we're trying to do. So thank you so much for watching.